What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Celtics Daily Channel with me, Mike Zakarian, as we are getting so close to NBA basketball. We're finally getting some practices in, which means some of the reporting is going to be, just a little bit more X's and O's. We get to get a feel for what this Celtics roster is going to look like, the style of play, all of that stuff. So excited to get into today. And again, I think as the week progresses and into next week, we're going to start getting some juicier tidbits from some of the beat reporters here. And I'm excited to relay this all of that information to you. But before we get started, if it's your first time here, or if you're a returner and you just haven't done it yet, hit the subscribe, like the video, hit the hype button, get the notification bell, do all the things. Let's get this algo boosting, because as I've been repeating every day, we're giving away some Celtics tickets as we get to 3K subs. So let's try to do it before the start of the season. Why not? We get a couple of weeks. Let's get a couple hundred subs every single day. Let's do it. But yeah, we're going to give away a pair of home game tickets. I'm not going to make you go on the road. Some Boston Celtics tickets for you. So get involved in the chat, hit the subscribe, do all the things. All right, let's go. Our first big update from practices, from training camp here, from the Beantown boys, is they are playing fast as hell, and I'm here for it. One of the things that we brought up yesterday is that it might, the idea that Missoula wanted to do these hockey shifts, right? So 4 in, 4 out. Just kind of switching up lines, playing as hard as they can, as aggressive as they can, and then mixing it up. And I knew that was going. I thought that was more on the defensive end that we were going to see that level of tenacity, like picking guys up full court, stuff like that, right? A high aggressive level of defense that was going to cause burnout, so that you were going to turning people over a little bit faster. However, according to Peyton Pritchard and some of the other Celtics, it sounds like this is on the offensive end too. So Jay King, reporting for The Athletic, had an interesting piece here that went up yesterday, and he dropped this tidbit of information saying the Celtics have not finished in the top half of the league in pace since drafting Jason Tatum in 2017. They ranked 29th in the category last season, but as training camp opened on Tuesday, Missoula said the team sounded prepared to usher in a significant stylistic shift. Several players have already noted the increased emphasis on pace, including Pritchard, who believes the Celtics will play much faster. I was having a conversation with a friend yesterday, and I think, normally when you think of a team that maybe doesn't have as much talent as the opponent, in recent seasons, we've seen teams try to slow it down, grind it out, right? There's two different ways that people have been messing with variance, right? Chucking the three ball. The more you shoot the three ball, the higher variance you have. The other option is to slow it down so there's less possessions. There's less room for error. But what teams are now realizing is that even though there's less possession and less room for error, the teams with more talented rosters, more talented offensive players, it's easier for them to create better shots and make tough shots in those smaller possessions than necessarily it is for the team that is trying to, even the playing field a little bit by playing slowly. So I think what we're going to start seeing is the opposite. The teams that maybe don't have the most talented roster are just going to push their foot to the gas. A team that we can look to, and I'm not saying they're going to play the same style of basketball, and I know it was a small sample size, so we'll have to wait and see what this season looks like. But the way the Chicago Bulls played the back half of last season, they were doing a similar thing. They weren't doing 4 in, 4 out at a time, but they were playing at a torrent pace the second half of the year and grinding teams down in a different way, right? They're like, hey, if we play at this breakneck speed all game long, when we get to the fourth quarter, if we are in better shape, we are going to wear you out. You're not going to be used to playing this style of basketball, and we will be ready for it in the fourth quarter where you guys might be a little bit more gassed. It reminds me a little bit of in baseball, and shout out our guy Tim Wakefield, rest in peace, and shout out the Red Sox who got a big W last night. But it reminds me of the knuckleball pitcher, right? Where a team is so used to seeing, all right, if a pitcher's thrown really hard, you're going to see hundreds, right? But if a pitch, more likely or not, their fastball is somewhere between 95 and 98, an off-speed pitch, high 80s, low 80s, whatever. All of it. So you're used to seeing that every single day. You're playing 182 games, whatever it is, every single day. That's what you're seeing. And then all of a sudden, maybe twice a year, you get some guy throwing at 55 miles an hour and it's all over the place, right? And so that's why that ends up being effective, is because it's so different. You're not seeing it regularly. You're not used to it. You're not in the routine of it. And I think that's the style of play, what that breakneck speed brings, is the team is not used to seeing this level of tenacity and intensity from tip to tip to I don't know what I was gonna say. Tip to bottom. I don't know. Tip to the buzzer. They're just playing, rock hard, lights out basketball. And so I wonder if that is the approach Missoula, that chaos machine Missoula is going to take. So that might mean faster offense. It might just mean getting into the offense faster, like not necessarily the same, attack cut or attack kick out three. Not necessarily that every time, but just like getting the ball across half court, making the defense get into their stance at a faster pace than they're used to. And so I think the first month of the season is going to be pretty interesting. I do. I think it's going to be pretty interesting to see how this Celtics team approaches that. So I'm excited about it. Let me see if I missed anything else from Jay King's reporting, because I want to make sure, one, we give our guy credit for doing a good job covering the Beantown Boys. Also, if you're not subscribed to The Athletic, it is relatively cheap for good coverage, especially if you like all basketball and not just the Celtics. But even with the Celtics, we like it. We like it. One other thing from Jay Williams that I wanted to get to. Sam Hauser is calling Xavier Tillman and Luka Garza the Buffaloes. That's their nickname, the Buffaloes. So I don't know. One other thing, as we're going to pivot to talk about Josh Minott, he was quoted in that same J. King article saying, "We definitely speak about just the pace we want to play with. We want to be the fastest team. We want to have no lag time in any decision making we do, whether that be taking the ball out after a bucket or in transition. We're definitely making it a point of emphasis." And I think that could be a strength of this team. When you think about Tatum as like playing a slower pace, that's because he's a very skilled basketball player who can make tough shots, who can, they wanted to methodically get to their spots, right? And when you don't have, like, Jaylen Brown can get to his spots, but Jaylen Brown, who also like mentioned his athleticism this offseason and how he's like in the best shape of his life and like healed from this knee injury. JB is somebody that can play with insane athleticism and speed and pace. So I'm excited for it, man. I'm excited for it, especially with the three-headed monster of Keita, Garza, and Tillman. Like, one way to limit the potential weakness there in the big man is to play with that speed, because you're not, those errors become a little less magnified. So anyways, let's talk about Josh Minott, because we're going to stay on The Athletic because John Hollinger did a piece saying the preseason, the preseason hinge players. So he did like one player from each team, of a guy that could not make or break the team, but just somebody that he's excited about. So, the chat has talked up Josh Minott, and I have pumped the brakes a little bit, because we haven't seen too much from Minott. So I didn't want to. I was just like, I don't know. We haven't seen it yet. We haven't seen him do it in NBA games. Hasn't had a ton of opportunities while he was with Minnesota. So I don't know why we would just project that he would do this in Boston. But I'm going to read to you the excerpt from John Hollinger and The Athletic about Minott. He said, "I was high on Minott coming out of Memphis, but he spent the last 3 years marooned at the end of the Minnesota bench while a deep veteran team chased top seeds in the West. With a move to Boston, that will not be the case. The only player definitely ahead of him on the depth chart at power forward is Sam Hauser, who might end up being traded at some point to get the Celtics under the luxury tax. And the overall depth situation virtually requires Minott to play if he can demonstrate any rotation level ability. Little snippets from his time in Minnesota indicate that he might deliver. Minott came into the league with a reputation as a non-shooter, but he attempted a three-pointer every 6.4 minutes in his limited playing time last season. Between the NBA and G League, he shot 85% from the line in his career. Well, we are likely to get a much larger shooting sample this season, but it seems likely he can make enough threes to be viable on the perimeter. And that's important because Minott's thin frame gets pushed around in the front court. However, on the perimeter, he's very mobile for his size and should be able to handle checking small players. The Celtics have him on a 2-year deal with a cheap option for next season, but Minott, who's only 22 and has some upside, I'll be watching closely to see how this movie ends, he says. So I guess that is with the thin front court, with the pending or looming trade deadline of what the Celtics are going to do to get under the luxury cap, he is going to get an opportunity. And I think maybe that's something that I was kind of just like throwing caution to the wind there. I'm like, okay, whatever. But if Minott really is going to get an opportunity and can show, especially if they're trying to play fast, If you're trying to play fast like that, you need your wing and big, like if you're going to do like a stretch, nah, he's not going to be a stretch 5, but like a stretch 4, you need him to be quick, you need him to be athletic, and probably stretch the floor a little bit, right? And if he is able to hit that 3 at a relatively decent clip, like it's living that 35 to 38%, being like forcing defenses to close out on him, and he's able to be athletic enough to like crash the glass when necessary. I don't know. I think that's a fun shot. Thinking about it from the fantasy perspective, if you're doing those deep best ball style leagues, I mean, if you do think Hauser's going to get traded and you think Minott can like outperform some of these other young guys, right? Like we kind of know what we have for Jordan Walsh with Jordan Walsh. We got year 2 Baylor Shireman, year 1 Hugo Gonzalez. Like like that is a really good point by Hollinger that he is going to at least get an opportunity. And that's why it's really hard to project this team. Like it's really easy to look at their top 6, not sort of, but basically, Brown, White, Pritchard, Simons. Who am I missing? Hauser. Like what you're getting for those guys, but man, like the range of outcomes for the rest of them. Like, is Hugo able to adapt, or is he really just going to be a guy on a rookie deal that's going to be chilling in the background? Is Baylor Shireman either able to take a leap in year 2? Like, what are you getting from these ex-Timberwolves and Luka Garza, who everybody seems to like having around? Josh Minott, who we just broke down, right? Like, Xavier Tillman, people seem pretty... We talked about him yesterday, so go check that out if you missed yesterday's video. But they seem like he's in really good shape, and that his, knee is finally... I guess he was dealing with a ton of swelling last year in his right knee. That appears to have gone down, and I guess he's hitting corner 3s now. So all of a sudden, if your 5 is able to do what a poor man's Al Horford, I don't know, that raises the ceiling a little bit. Is Keita really able to take on a starting role? I don't know, but it's given me a little bit of hope. But that's why I love the beginning of the season, man. Optimism all around. We get to just be excited. Speaking of optimism, Jonathan Kuminga, the saga is finally over. We are down to 1 restricted free agent who is yet to be signed, and that's Quentin Grimes. He has to decide today if he's taking the qualifying offer, if he's going to get a bigger offer. I don't know what's going to happen, but he has to decide today. But Mr. Kuminga has officially signed his deal with the Golden State Warriors. This is according to Shams of ESPN, ending a summer-long stalemate. Jonathan Kuminga has agreed to a 2-year, $48.5 million contract to return to the Golden State Warriors. His agent told ESPN the deal has a team option designated for the contract to be ripped up and renegotiated next summer. So the good news is, if you really like listening to Jonathan Kuminga and the Golden State Warriors negotiate deals, it'll happen again next summer. Something to note is that because of this extension, Jonathan Kuminga cannot be traded until January of this year, January 15th. So if you're already somebody that likes to mess around with the trade machine, Mr. Kuminga can't be moved until January. I think this was the likely outcome. If you want to just shout out Bill Simmons and the body language doctor, if you want to pay attention to chemistry, the players of Golden State have all been saying the right things. They've been just alluding to the fact that Kuminga was going to be a Warrior. They're excited to have him back. He's going to have an important role. That was also the case last year, and I wouldn't say his role was important until they were thinned out because of injuries. So we'll have to see how that fits. I wanted to bring up the Al Horford thing, too. Apparently, so Al Horford signed that 2-year deal that we mentioned yesterday with the Warriors. The second year is a player option. So, I don't know. If you want 40-year-old Al coming back, the option's there. He could opt out. He'd be like, hey, JT's back. I like what I'm seeing. You need a vet. You need a wily old vet here to help you out. Let's bring back Al, baby. Let's bring back Al. Those are the updates. Let's get into some of your comments from yesterday. Do me a favor, though. If you haven't been involved in the chat yet, get in the chat. Get in the chat. Hit the subscribe. Let's go. Let's see what we got from yesterday. AJB said, because I had asked you yesterday, what are you looking forward to seeing from camp, reports from camp? He said, aside from our big situation, I want to see if Peyton Pritchard takes another leap. Played a lot of minutes last year, but now there's less mouths to feed. I also want to see if they actually play faster this year. There you go, AJB. We talked about that today. I know that's something JB's wanted over the last couple of years. A play style similar to the Pacers would be so fun to watch. Yeah, I don't know if you are not a Celtics fan. I don't know how many times you're like, ooh, Celtics are my league pass team. But I think this year that could be the case because they, like you said, they are going to be playing faster. I think that is going to be fun to watch. And I do think somebody like Peyton Pritchard and Anthony Simons would excel. Like if you are one of those scoring guards who can knock down the three ball but also attack the rim a little bit, this style of play is going to be fun for you. Edgar Snake 2857 said, I'm looking forward to this season. We still have some championship players, and I think this team will be more fun than people think. I agree with that, too. Our guy Joe in the chat says, some stupid hockey shift sounds like someone who can't coach. I mean, we'll see, man. We'll see. Ryan Peralta making fun of me, saying, technically, you've been sick for 2 seasons. Are you okay? Listen, we're fine. We're almost there. I know I still sound congested. We're almost there. And then I'm excited to share this comment because I don't even know what the hell he's talking about. And sometimes those are fun. So if this is you, just elaborate a little bit. Darren Cox, 9253, he said, the only reason people are mad about what 7 is because they don't know shit about basketball. So I thought he was talking about Jaylen Brown. But then he said, if you watch the interview, he was not saying he wouldn't play. He basically was saying that he was going to play harder. That's what I took from it, now that he, and totally different situation. But you and the recipient fans are wacky as shit. I'm a Boston fan. Maybe I'm whacking myself away. But you'll always complaining about dumb shit. Darren, listen. There was so many words used there that are weird. Specifically whacking yourself. I mean, like, if you are, I don't know if you're going to put that part in the chat, And I also don't know what you're mad about. I don't know what. I think we were talking about Jaylen Brown when you said 7, but then when you said the interview, I wasn't sure. And I don't know. I feel like I've been a pretty big defender of JB. I don't know who you're yelling at, Darren. Darren, who are you yelling at? But I do appreciate the yelling. Keep the energy. Keep it coming, guys. Appreciate everybody tuning in. We will be back tomorrow with some more Celtics Daily content. Hit the subscribe. Let's give away some Celtics tickets and go. Can we just talk about the Red Sox for a second? How about Yoshi? Our guy Yoshida coming in there. Big 2-run hit. 2 outs, 2-run hit. I think it was 2 outs. And listen, I live in New York. I was out last night. I actually host bar trivia. I was out in New York City, had the game on the big screen, turned the volume up, and we were just fist pumping out there. Although Chapman scared the crap out of us, but let's go. Let's get Bayo out there tonight. Let's throw a gem. We don't even need game 3. Let's wrap it up tonight. Look at me. I can't believe it. I was ready to throw the Red Sox off a bridge after the Devers deal, and now look at me now. I'm a grown-ass man sweating out the Red Sox again. You just love to see it. There you go. Celtics Red Sox crossover. We'll do the Patriots tomorrow. All right, thanks for watching. We outskis.